AndrewCornes, Chichester 94, Bishop Sarah, Synod, thank you for your patience. I'm really speaking more to the Second Amendment. In my ministry, I have walked and wept with many gay men, and I know the Second Amendment will be painful for some to hear. I have no desire to hurt anybody. Please forgive me if I do. One question has been persistently asked: is the Church of England changing its teaching about sex? It's a question every couple asking for the Church's blessing need to be clear about. It's a question the congregation at any public service needs to be clear about. This Second Amendment simply says the Church is not changing its teaching. Christ is the Lord of the Church, so the key issue is, what did Jesus teach? Jesus taught a lot about marriage and sex. He often met those who didn't follow sexual norms, and he reveals himself as radically inclusive and radically conservative. When what Luke calls a woman of the city kissed and anointed his feet, Jesus' host thought he should have known she's a sinner and spurned her. He knew exactly who she was and said she had poured her love on him. When he met a woman married 5 times and now cohabiting, she was astonished that he talked to her, but he did, and transformed her life. So he was radically inclusive. He was also radically conservative. He confirmed Jewish teaching on sex and marriage and made it more demanding. His teaching on remarriage surprised his disciples by its difficult demands. He called lustful thoughts sinful and urged action to avoid sexual sin. Inclusive and conservative. Both are seen when they brought a woman committing adultery. He refused to humiliate or condemn her, and then he said, "Go and leave your life of sin." It was sin, he said, and she must leave that now. The Jews knew they were different in 2 ways. They didn't worship idols, and sex was reserved for marriage. There's a general word for sex outside marriage, in Greek porneia, which Jesus said wells up from the human heart. For 7 years, I've been researching a book on Greek and Roman homosexualities, including many loving, committed, generous homosexual relationships. I have studied every extant Jewish writing on the subject between 200 BC and 200 AD. They are absolutely univocal. They say that any homosexual sex is sin. So when Jesus used the word translated porneia, all Jesus' hearers will have assumed that he included homosexual sex. If he did not regard that as sinful, he grossly misled his listeners. So as followers of Jesus, the Church's Lord, we must lovingly welcome all who enter our doors. We can joyfully offer prayers to those who want to live sexually celibate lives. But surely, painful as this will be to some of us, we cannot bless a relationship which, in its sexual aspect, Jesus calls sinful. This has always been the Church of England's teaching, and we owe it to all, and above all to Christ, to say that this teaching has not changed. I beg to move the First Amendment standing in my name.